Hi, welcome to this Kickstarter preview video for an expansion for one of my beloved games out there. A small game that has a lot of punch and a lot of power under the hood, which is none less than Small Samurai Empires. This is a game that I really loved, and I had the pleasure of even playing it at the very early stages when I was doing the Kickstarter preview for the game, and then following through once the game was delivered with more additional plays. A fantastic area control with orders that the players are giving to the different clans, and programming, and has so many cool ideas and nice and interesting scoring and a lot of tension and back and forth between the players. And now we have an expansion for the game. It's currently on Kickstarter. The name of the expansion is Rise of Tokugawa. It's an expansion that has 3 modules, and each of those modules are really well thought, and basically they are the things that I was wishing that the core game would have as a future, and now they came together and put them in an expansion, and this is, I think, amazing. First of all, without further ado, the different modules include the 5th player, so now the game can be played up to 5 players. The Training Grounds, which is an expansion that gives the opportunity for players to have elite units like archers and the general, etc., and elite samurai, which all have different abilities, and they are very valuable and change a lot the game, give more dynamic. On top of that, the different 5 training ground boards have different abilities on them, so it's also asymmetric on top of the different units that the players recruit and put into their battle on the game board. And the 3rd module is the solo mode, something that I also love that the game was having as a future evolution of the game, and that was the solo mode. So now you can play both with 5 players, both solo, both with additional special units that give different abilities and different symmetric powers to the clans as well. So all this on top of a great game. This is really I wouldn't even imagine that would be the future of Small Samurai Empires, and there you have it, they made it. So all this now it's on Kickstarter. I'll put the link at the description of this video below and show you all the details so that you can follow it up. One additional detail that I really love is that now with 5 players, maybe the game board is a bit overcrowded, but they also are making a game mat. So this is also really nice. And let me now get through the details. I'll show you all the additional rules for the 3 modules, for the 5th player, for the solo mode, and also for the training grounds. And we'll come back at the end of this video for some additional thoughts on how this make the game even better, a great game even better. But you already figured out my opinion on this. This is exactly what was missing from a good game to become a perfect game, and there you have it. This is a Kickstarter currently on this is an expansion currently on Kickstarter, so not to be missed. That's my advice to you. Join me at the table. I'll show you how this works, and we'll come back at the end of this video, as we do always, with additional thoughts and final conclusions. Welcome to this Kickstarter preview video for Rise of Tokugawa, the expansion for Small Samurai Empires. So this expansion, as I mentioned before, has 3 modules. So we're going to go into explaining the details of how you play and you set up each of those 3 modules separately. Without further ado, let's start with the 5th player expansion, which is obviously, as a title indicating, adding a 5th player option. The 5th player option is the house of Tokugawa, which is this house, the black samurais, that they are already on the board. And there are some components added in this module. First of all, we have a new player board over here, which accommodates a 5th player for the turn order and for the scoring as well. Then we have one island map extension, which is this one, and you can place it either on the right or on the left, or top or bottom if you're having the map vertically. I have it horizontally for demonstration purposes, but typically this is a vertical one, so that means that this goes either on the south or on the north. It has 2 options. You have also a 5th player region influence board, which is this one, and it's added next to the other 4 ones on the main core game. You have 2 seeding tokens. You have 4 cubes, influence markers, that are for additional influence column of the 4 core game factions, and then you have the 5th player component, which is 1 turn order, 1 additional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cubes for this, 1 cube for the scoring. You have 3 castles, you have 16 samurai meeples, which are really nice, and they have also their own different sculpts. As you see, let me show you one up close. As you remember, a small samurai empire has unique samurais for each clan, and this is really nice. And then you have also the respective 11 order tokens for this 5th player Tokugawa faction. Now, how we set up the game when we have 5-player games. First of all, we have the new region setup. You add the new region board on either side of the map, which would be south or north. So if I'm to place this north, I will just pick it up and add it on the north side of the board. Think of this vertically. Then you take the 7 Bushido and 7 food seeding tokens, this and that, the red and the green ones. You seed them randomly on each face of the map that has the respective icon, the resource lot, just to show you which one is this. Yeah, so you make the resource provinces. You place the other resource tokens near the board to form a supply. Then you shuffle the new destiny cards, which are these, in the destiny deck, and then you deal typically 3 to each player like you do normally. Each player is going to have 3 destiny cards. Then each player places 2 armies, like in the core game, from their supply in each capital city province, so each player will start with 10 total armies on the board. The difference is that before we had 1, 2, 3, 4 regions with 4 capitals. This is the symbol of the capital. Now, with the addition of the island board map, we have one additional. So 10 samurai units for each player, and 1, 2, 3, 4 plus the 5th one. That means 5 regions with 2 on each province area of each region. Then we add the new region influence board and place 1 cube marker of each player on that starting space of the influence track. So you see these are color coded, the gray with the respective symbol that you see, the orange, the teal, the purple, and then we have the 5th one as well. Each player places their score marker at 0 space of the score track. So we start with this very nice fun score track, and also we determine the first player and place their turn marker on the first slot of the turn order. Then in clockwise order, place each the remaining players' markers on the next slots, so we have a turn order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In this case, the first player is the red one. Now, for the 5th player setup, when playing with 5 players, you must use the new region components. The 5th player gets you Tokugawa house with 16 armies, 3 castles, Tokugawa order tokens, 2 Bushido and 2 food tokens respectively. The gameplay with this module is very straightforward. During the game, players will be able to place their order tokens and play out actions on their new region the same way they would do as in any other region. So this acts the same way like the rest of the regions in the game. And rounds are played as in a 4-player game. Each player places 3 tokens, action tokens, during the first placement phase in an era, and then 2 during the second planning phase. So, like we did with a 4-player game, during the first phase of an era, we play the game in 3 eras, I remind you, and each era has 2 phases, the first and the second. During the first phase of each era, we place 3 order tokens from the ones we have, and during the second era, we place 2. And again, briefly to show you the orientation of the map with the addition of the island board, if we were to play 5-player games, we're going to use this map extension, and keep in mind this is I would say north and this is south, so the game board is vertical. The only reason I have it like that is for fitting in my screen with a 16:9 ratio. But you see, when we add this board, we can add it as it is, as you see it in front of you on the south part of the map, or we can do the other setup where I simply pick it up from this side and place it there so it connects from the north side of the board. And this is also really nice because you have two different setups in the game. So very straightforward, very easy steps to add the fifth player, the house of Tokugawa, with the extra components and the extra map extension. So second module is a training grounds. This module adds a unique training grounds board to each house in the game, and each player will play with different abilities and powers contained on the board. The module also adds the new archer armies as well as the almighty general. So the extra game components that are included in this expansion include the 5 training grounds, which for each of those are different with different abilities. Once placing, you activate different abilities, and you can see how they look like on this prototype. And these are the different numbered also training grounds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now each of those, I'm just going to show you one for a breakdown. Each of those has area with the barracks, the archery, the elite samurai, and the general headquarters, and placement information rules, that the abilities that they activate upon placement, unique to each board. That's what's important. We also have the 2 pawns. Each player has their almighty general, in addition to their samurai units that they have, and they also have the archer unit, which is really nice as well. In addition to that, each player gains 1 training grounds help board with all the information that they need to have handy as a player aid for this module, and this includes all the components. So let's see how we differentiate with the setup. Now for the setup. After choosing your house training grounds, add all your samurai meeples to the regular army space on the training ground, as you see here, there. Then you set up the 3 archer armies. At the moment this prototype just had 1, but you see there are spots for 3 armies of archers, 1, 2, 3. So you set up the 3 archer armies and the general on the slots as indicated here, but visualize 1 more archer here and 1 more archer there. And then the next thing that you do is you take this next to your player area together with your house screen and the rest of the components so that you're ready to start. Now let's see the gameplay. There is a new basic rule which is called besieging. Besieged castles are castles containing at least 1 enemy army in their province, and you cannot recruit armies in besieged castles anymore. So the training planning phase. During the game you will be able to use the samurai meeples just as you would use in the normal game, with the addition that you can train them during your planning phases. However, you may train only 1 army per turn. Armies are samurai army, archer army, and elite army. To train a samurai, first you choose which type of army do you want it to become, then you pay the required resources, either bushido or food, and you place an archer army from the supply into the archery range space if you're training an archer. So you would place them there. Or you move a samurai army from the barracks into the elite army space if you're training an elite army. Or if you wish to further train your archer's elite army, meaning one of those 2, and make them a general, then what you do is you have to pay the required resources once again, both a bushido and a food token as indicated on the player board. And once you do that, you place the general meeple into the general headquarters, making it available for you to use for future recruitment, and you place them on your training ground respectively. Then you either return an elite samurai or an archer back to the barracks. You must have already trained an elite or an archer in order for you to pay and call for your Grand General. Essentially, the one you already have, either an elite samurai or an archer, you upgrade them to the general figure. And by doing so, you then remove one and put it back into the barracks. Now, the recruitment planning phase, resolution phase, and neutral actions. Whenever you would recruit a samurai, you may choose to recruit any of your other train meeples if you have them already available, either archer, elite samurai, or general. If you choose to recruit an elite or a general, you will get an immediate bonus effect. And that is printed on your training ground, and this is different for each player. Usually this will depend on the province or region that the unit is recruited. And additionally, some of these units have more powers or effects than a normal samurai army while they are ravaging on the map board. You may recruit these armies during the planning phase, the resolution phase, or via neutral action as you would do normal. So, let's see the details. The archer, which is this unit, it costs 1 bushido. The archer has the same power as a samurai army, a value of 1, when on a province without a castle. They have 2 power when besieging an opponent castle, so they're more favorable to be placed there. And if an archer is besieging an opponent castle, their owner gains 1 VP at the end of each era, so it's a really valuable unit. The elite, which is this one, it costs 1 food, as you see, and you have there the possibility that it has the same power as a normal samurai army, so it has a strength of 1, but it gives you an immediate ability when recruited, as stated and described on the board. So this is a reminder that it has 2 power while besieging a castle, and here on recruit immediately move this elite samurai army up to 2 provinces. So this is a special ability that this elite has, and it is printed on this specific board. So on the board you see the regular samurai army, and when it's on the board it acts as a regular samurai army when this one moves on the board, but when you recruit it you activate the ability that it's there. And then finally you have the almighty general, which costs 1 food and 1 bushido to recruit, plus 1 trained either archer or elite that you send back to the barracks. It gives you immediate ability when recruited, and it's described here, the special ability for your general. And when in play, the general has 2 power, the same as a castle, and it's also noted here for ease of reference. So that makes it a very, very powerful unit. It gives extra region influence to its owner, +1. Additionally, when the general moves, it moves 1 additional space. So you see it has all these benefits that really are a game changer when you have them on the board. Now each training ground has different powers for the elite samurai and the general, and all these are described on the respective text boxes as you see on the 5 different boards. So just go briefly through them. For the first one, the number 1, as you see here, the elite immediately moves your elite up to 2 spaces, and the general destroy armies, friendly included, from the region until there is 1 army from each player in each province. The second one, the ground training ground 2, the elite recruitment, they recruit another samurai army with this elite, and it gives you, and the general destroy all opponent armies in a province in this region. So very, very powerful. Number 3, the elite one, destroy 1 opponent army in an adjacent province, and the general move any number of armies to this province from any other region. Training ground 4, the elite move 2 opponent armies from 1 adjacent province to another adjacent province, and the general gain the regional resources, then kill 2 opponent armies in this region. Wow. And the last, 5th one, for the elite, choose and play a neutral action from an already placed order token, very powerful, and then move the general 1 space and destroy all armies in the province it ends its turn in. Great. So you see that all these have really interesting special abilities. So when using the powers of the elites or the generals, you still have to follow the attack priority rule. Keep that in mind. And lastly, they do not destroy units if they wouldn't destroy it as in a normal condition. So they behave as normal units, they're just more powerful with their special perks that I just described. Now, let's see the third and final module, the solo mode. The game components are 32 location tiles, that these are for the AI, 16 for each AI. We'll come back to this in a moment. We also have the location board, which is this one that you can put next to your main board, and this is a board for the solo mode, so really, really nice as well. Then you also have one help board with the solo mode, the turn order of the AI, the token placement, the end of era actions, the destiny cards and how they are resolved, the AI token resolution for the AI, and the neutral token resolution for the AI respectively. Very handy, useful to have also next to you when you're playing solo, so that you don't have to go to the rulebook all the time. And I'm just going to show you also in the location tiles an example up close. You see, for example, this is the color of the AI, the yellow color with the banner. This is the region color, so you know that this means that the yellow AI will act on this region, meaning here. And then on the front side you see the region, the province, and the player color AI again. This is yellow, and that's the province that it refers to. So let's see the setup. Now let's go through the setup. You take the seed tokens and place them randomly on the map as you would do normally. But you need to make sure that every region has at least one Bushido and one food token present. If, for example, you have only 3 food tokens there, then you need to readjust so that you have at least 1 and 1. Then you set 2 armies in each of the capitals and collect 2 food and 2 Bushido for the player. That means for you. The 2 AI units start with 0 resources and 0 armies on the board. So there you have it. You can ignore this section because now we're playing with 3 players, 2 AI and the solo player, us. So this board does not exist. So you separate each AI's location cards by regions. Let me show you what happens. So these are the location tokens separated by piles per region, and you can see the icon of the region on the right side of each pile. What we do is, as I said, we separate each AIs, so we use the yellow and the blue. These are the 2 colors that I'm always going to be playing in a solo mode where there are the 2 AIs. So this is an example for the yellow, the same happens for the blue. You separate the AI location tiles by regions, then you draw 2 location tiles from each of the regions, so that means 2 from this one, 2 from that one, and 2 from the last one. And then we take those, we shuffle them thoroughly, and then we create a pile which is going to be used for this phase. So this is the one that is going to be used, that consists of 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 shuffled in this pile as you see there. We leave the rest on the side, not going to use them for the moment. Then we take 1 destiny card for each of the regions and place them next to the influence board. So now there should be 4 destiny cards next to the board, and then we shuffle the rest and place them nearby face down. Set up the starting points and destiny score, place the player's marker on the 3rd slot of the turn track, and both the AI is placed before the player. At the start of the first era, the player should be the last in the turn order. The AI plays with the yellow and the blue colors. We remove all the move tokens from each of the AI. These are 3 tokens for each, as I mentioned, so these 3 for the yellow and the blue player will not be available. We remove them and return them to the box, and the AI is going to play only with those order tokens. The same applies for the blue AI. Then we place the AI board, which is this long board over there, on one side of the map, and during the game we use the board to place the location tiles for the AI as well as every action token. We ignore the action slots on the original board, so these slots here are ignored. We just use the ones on the additional AI board. Now, setting the destiny cards. From the destiny card deck we have 4 destiny cards, 1 per region before era 1, 2 destiny cards random after era 1, 2 destiny cards random after era 2, and 1 destiny card random after era 3. So let's talk about the gameplay. The game is divided into 3 eras. Each era consists of 2 rounds, where each round is played in 2 phases, planning phase and resolution phase. In every era, the player and the AIs place 3 order tokens in the first round and 2 order tokens in the second round. There is a quick overview that it's similar to the core game. So for the first round, you have the planning phase where you place 3 order tokens, and then you have the resolution phase where you resolve order tokens from bottom upwards, meaning from south to the north. Same like in the core game. And in the second round, you have again the planning phase where you place 2 order tokens, and once it's done from all the players and the AIs in this case, then you proceed to the resolution phase where you resolve order tokens from top to downwards, meaning from north to the south, the other way around. At the start of the first era, the player should be last in turn order, as you can see on the turn order there. So green, myself, I'm last. But after the first era, the player with the least amount of points will go first during the next era, and the player with the next lowest score will be second, and so on. Turn actions for the AI. The turn actions are the same for both AIs. Turn actions for the AI for the first round. First, we have the planning phase. We draw 1 location card, take 1 random face down. Location token, that is, sorry, we mean one from those, from the pile that we just created. And we place it on the bottom most available space of the region, the location token region. And then we flip the token and recruit 1 army for each of the provinces matching the location token. If the AI has any number of armies present on all corresponding provinces, the AI does the neutral action next to its token. Basically, this one. So I will take 1 like that. I will flip it and place it here. That means that I'm checking the area for the purple province with this icon. Keep in mind that you can also have the area with the food token, or the area with the Bushido token, or the capital as well. Note that if the AI has an army only on one of the matching provinces, so let's make it more straightforward, because this is only 1 token for this. So let's say that we reveal it and this is the food token. Oh, again, it's only 1. But let's say, for example, it could be this this area where we have 2 gate tokens. Okay, in any case, if the AI has an army only one of the matching provinces, it still recruits an army on the empty ones of this type. If the AI cannot place a token to a particular region, for example, if the region is full, then you draw a new token until there is a free space for a token in another region. The tokens that are unused are placed at the bottom of the deck. When all order tokens have been placed on the board, you can proceed to the resolution phase. The resolution phase. Resolve order tokens from bottom upwards, south to north, and after all tokens have been resolved, you can start with round 2. The turn actions for the second round, again you have the planning phase where you shuffle the remaining location tokens. The AI draws a location token, then places a token on the topmost available region, the other way around, corresponding to that card. Then you flip that token, then you flip that token and recruit 1 army for each of the provinces matching the location token. And if the AI has any number of armies present on all corresponding provinces, then the AI does a neutral action next to the token instead. The AI wants to ignore placing tokens over itself, so its priority is empty space, empty token, own token. The AI do not pay any resources for placing a token over another enemy. The player has to pay 1 Bushido for covering this, the first enemy token that is, and 2 Bushido for covering the second one. However, only 1 token for each AI and player can be covered during the era. When all orders have been placed on the board, then you can proceed to the resolution phase. In the resolution phase, of course, you resolve order tokens from top downwards, north to south, and after all tokens have been resolved, the era essentially finishes. So just to show you how this is done, again, keep in mind that when I'm going to draw 1 face down location tile, I also have the active, now having them face up to show you that these are the valid ones playing, but this is going to be a face down pile. So I take 1 face down tile, and then I take 1 face down token, for example, let's say this one, okay, and I place it like that. And then the sequence is that after I have done this, I start in the first era from the bottom most available space, as mentioned before. And this is what I would be doing. And of course, I would be checking the icon here. And similarly, for the province that we are referring, because this time we're referring for the purple province, the AI recruits one army for each of the provinces matching the location token symbol. But keep in mind that again, this is a prep step. That means that all these spots will be populated, and then we'll go to the resolution phase where we start flipping the order tokens. Okay, so this is done in 2 different steps, as you would expect accordingly on the core normal game. The only difference is that during planning phase, the AIs are recruiting additional tokens, additional armies based on the matchups that I described before. Now, order tokens, actions for the AI. Again, we have the similar ones. We have the attack, which is this one. We have the harvest, which is this one. We have the recruit armies, which is this one. And we have the build a castle, which is this one. We also have the neutral actions for the AI. Neutral actions are the actions that are on the board. The AI can play the neutral action only when they have armies in all corresponding provinces matching the location token. And when it's this, then the neutral board, neutral actions are activated. You can have either again an attack, you can have harvest, you can have a move, or you can have a recruit an army. The actions overview for the AI. So, the AI actions explained. The attack, whether it's this one or that one, we have the attack. Attack is when attack applies, the attack applies to a token and to neutral actions, as I mentioned. The attack is an action that lets you attack in a province where the AI has at least one army. If it is a token action, if there are multiple locations where the AI can attack, the AI attacks in all locations and destroys one army in each of the provinces. If the attack is happening in one province, for example the capital, destroy 2 armies. If a neutral action attack happens, you attack in all of one location, in all or one location where AI can attack, corresponding to the location token, and you destroy one army in each of those provinces. The attack action priority, the AI wants to attack the enemy that has the most armies in the targeted province. In case of a tie, the AI prioritizes the player, of course, against the second AI. Then you can have the harvest. Harvest lets you harvest, of course, the resources from the provinces or the corresponding location token. If the armies are in Bushido resource province, you get Bushido for each province. If they are in food resource province, you get food for each province. If the armies are in shrine, you gain 1 point for each shrine, respectively. If the armies are in the capital, you gain 1 influence for that region. Then you have the recruit armies action, which is this one. Recruit armies, for this action you recruit 1 army in each province matching the location token again, so this play the role to indicate where these actions are happening, that's what they do. If the location token is corresponding with 1 province, recruit 2 armies in that one. If the token is corresponding with multiple provinces, for example shrine, food, etc., then recruit 1 army in each province. If the AI has only 1 army left to recruit from the supply and it has the recruit army action, it should put the army on the southernmost location corresponding to that token. And the maximum limit of armies in 1 province is 3 for the AI. If the AI has 3 armies in a province and it has the action recruit, simply skip the recruit action for that. Then, last but not least, you have the build castle. You upgrade 1 army into castle in 1 location. If the AI has multiple locations to build the castle, choose the location that is southernmost. The AI can build a castle with 1 army, not 2 like the players. It cannot build a castle in a province that already contains another player's castle, as you would expect, cannot build in the capital, nor it can build in a castle in a region where it already contains a castle from the same AI. And then you have the move, which is the move token, like this one here, so it moves from there. Sorry, this one. This is only a neutral action. When this happens, you gain 1 VP. respectively. So, the era end. After the era ends, you do the following in order. Harvest food and bushido for the player and the eyes as you would normally. Count and add influence. Count and add points from regions and shrines. Remove tokens and location cards. Cull the whole map, remove all but one AI's armies, each AI in every province. You set up new turn order tokens, you draw new destiny cards, and you add location cards, location tokens as applicable as we did before. Adding new destiny and location tokens. For each even number of new destiny token per region, you add one location card to the deck and the eyes where the eye draws from. This means that each time you add the second, fourth or sixth destiny card next to the influence board, you need to add one location card to the corresponding region. This is how you populate the destiny cards as well per region. So the game ends. After the third era ends, players continue to resolve the end era. And after the final steps that we did for each era end, then we proceed to calculate the final influence, points that we gain and points from resources and that we possess as normal. And the player with the most points wins the game. In case of a tie, the player with the least resources wins the game. So there you have it. This is a very straightforward and interesting solo mode that creates a lot of interesting options to play not versus one but versus two AIs, and this is something very interesting and gives a very nice challenge every time. So there you have it. This is the last module from Rise of Tokugawa, the third and last one, the solo mode, and this concludes all the modules from this wonderful expansion. Wow. Really wow. First of all, it's an opportunity to revisit one of the greatest little tiny games that I have played in the last couple of years, and this is Small Samurai Empires. Now Arcona Games put out a really well thought games, and they have a series with small empires that they build up on it, and they really take care of it, like the railroad empires, small railroad empires, and small star empires, etc. Really cool games as well, different type of games. This is an independent game, but what I was really hoping is that specifically this game is going to get, let's say, some additional love. And they did that through this upcoming expansion for the game. Not only can you play the game with 5 players, and it's perfect to play it with 5 players because essentially this is a fantastic area control game where players give orders. They have to really be taking care of what the other players are doing on the map, trying to get opportunities out of them and try to program their orders correctly through the 2 different phases so that they can score really nicely at the end with a very nice scoring system that they have. The game has also some variants, but now with the 5th player, a game that is really amazing for higher player counts becomes even better because you can play it with up to 5 players. And don't be fooled by the size of this box. This is a full gaming experience. I love it, really love it, and I love the fact that it's also on a small package because that means portable, that means you can have a lot of gameplay out of it, etc. The second module, Training Grounds. Wow, again. And the reason for that is that not only does the module offers additional opportunities for different type of units, like elite samurais, archers, and the Grand General as well, which have all special cool things that they do on the board. So when they get on the board, your opponents will really have to look out for them because they have different dynamics and they give a lot of advantage to their owner. So you can focus on training your troops, maybe be a bit more idle a couple of rounds and then go on the final round and, you know, boom, bring all these nice, interesting and beefed up units that really make a difference at the correct timing. But in addition to that, each of the 5 different player boards, which has the training grounds, because basically it's like a bootcamp where you train your soldiers to become archers, elite samurais and generals, you can also have additional different abilities upon placement that they are activated with some of these units. And they're different per board. That means that there is also asymmetry there. So cool, how cool is that? And last but not least, the really great solo mode. This is a fantastic addition to the game because now you can enjoy a very well designed and well thought area control game with orders and lots of cool things, also as a single mode, as a solo mode, which is great because typically those type of games do not offer solo mode, and this is a well thought solo mode, which it shows that they have really refined it and designed it very, very well. So all the three modules really bring a lot of added value to an already great design, and I'm just hoping that many more people will get the opportunity to find out about this game, because it will be really an opportunity missed if you don't and you're into this type of genre and this type of games. Now, that being said, as I said again, there is the link at the description of this video, so you can go and follow up to go to the Kickstarter campaign page where you can get the game and find all about this new wonderful expansion. You can also get the core game if you missed it, but also check out for this really nice playmat that they're going to put out with as an add-on with the game. So only good things to say about Small Samurai Empires. A great game becomes even better with the Rise of Tokugawa expansion, which is a must for this game. Many thanks for watching.